Regina Shell. She was in the film, although she didn't know that it was going to come out this way. And she joins us now. I'm sorry to meet you under these circumstances, but I know it's really important for you to speak up for your friend. Let's talk about what matters most to you.
A myriad of events transpired since the airing of the Wendy Williams documentary. Despite the difficulty in watching, it effectively highlighted how Wendy's condition deteriorated after being separated from her family and entrusted to guardian Sabrina Morrissey. Allegations have surfaced, suggesting instances when Wendy had no access to food, compelling friends to send her Uber Eats because the guardian had restricted her access to funds. Additionally, revelations indicate that the same guardian had previously held another client under guardianship for years and was accused of embezzling millions of dollars from him. We'll delve into both stories and explore the accusations against the judge overseeing Wendy's case, among other details. Before delving into the intricacies, please ensure to subscribe to this channel and activate notifications so you stay informed about updates on this story and more. Now, let's resume our discussion. The two-part documentary chronicling Wendy Williams' life received anything but mixed reviews. It evoked strong emotions, leaving viewers angry, tearful, and vociferous throughout. The film lacked any moments of joy, prompting the...
I just got a piece of information that the woman who is currently the appointed guardian has been accused of a scheme to rob a different client. There's a $30 million suit against her. You have said you have concerns about what is going on with this guardianship. How so?
If Wendy had dementia, no one would have documented her journey on camera. Unfortunately, the cameras did capture her struggles. As a dedicated viewer of Wendy Williams like myself, it's evident that if Wendy had been fully in control, we would never have witnessed her in such a vulnerable state. Thus, the claim that Wendy was an executive producer of this film seems highly exaggerated. The film portrays the highs and lows of Wendy's life following her divorce, the loss of her mother, and the subsequent cancellation of her show. Wendy's drinking escalated during this time, leading to significant problems. Her son, Lil Kev, intervened to care for her, recognizing that no one in New York was adequately doing so. He brought her to Miami, where they discovered she was suffering from alcohol-related dementia. Under Lil Kev's care, Wendy began to recover through a vegan-based diet, exercise, and a strict no-alcohol policy. However, Wendy was eventually court-ordered back to New York and placed under the guardianship of Sabrina Morrissey. Surprisingly, Morrissey delegated the responsibility of overseeing Wendy's well-being to Wendy's jeweler and business manager, Will Selby. Under their care, Wendy's life took a turn for the worse, spiraling downward even further. After being spotted passed out at the Louis Vuitton store and later observed wandering around New York City unaccompanied to purchase liquor and cigarettes, it's baffling why Sabrina Morrissey remains Wendy's guardian. Even before Wendy was placed under Morrissey's guardianship, she had an attorney named Lizine Thomas who vigorously advocated for her in court. From the court documents that were accessible at the time, it was evident that Thomas was fighting diligently to secure justice for Wendy. Although those court documents have since been sealed, we were diligently analyzing each one on this channel. However, while Thomas was actively representing Wendy in court, the decision was made to seal the documents, preventing further public scrutiny.
When I was in New York and staying with Wendy in the summer, I noticed when she would call, she had no access to her money, so every time she had to do anything that she had to pay for, she had to go through the guardian. And she would call to order her breakfast at 7:30 in the morning with the guardian, and she would take the order, and the order wouldn't show up until sometimes noon. And so Wendy wouldn't have any food. And when I went back to LA, I would have to send her food from Los Angeles to New York.
Documents were obtained which resulted in Lizine being removed from Wendy Williams' case, rendering her unable to represent or communicate with Wendy. Moreover, there were threats of disbarment if she attempted to do so. Lizine had been uncovering various financial irregularities concerning Wendy, and surprisingly, it wasn't her family who seemed to be siphoning off the funds. As time progressed, Wendy began filming the documentary, during which she implied that her guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, was misappropriating her money. Remarkably, this narrative isn't as implausible as it might initially seem. The story unfolds with Joseph Verdugo, who was struck by a piece of plywood falling from a building's 52nd floor in 2003. Verdugo enlisted attorney Michael Floman, and a lawsuit against the construction company ensued. However, as is common with such cases, legal proceedings take time. During this period, Verdugo was approached by Herbert Rodriguez, a former associate of Michael Floman. Rodriguez, who also had ties to Sabrina Morrissey, misinformed Verdugo about his current attorney's handling of the case. He asserted that the case couldn't progress without Verdugo consenting to an MHL Article 81 guardianship, which Verdugo did not require at the time. Subsequently, Rodriguez, along with his firm, initially partnered and, collaborating with Sabrina Morrissey and her firm, there was a scheme to impose an MHL Article 81 guardianship on Verdugo. This endeavor led to the removal of the former attorney, Floman, and Morrissey's firm, which, incidentally, was awarded substantial court fees as guardian counsel through litigation. Wendy Williams' guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, served as Verdugo's guardian from January 19, 2010 to October 7, 2015. Initially awarded $5.5 million following his head injury incident, Verdugo had $2.47 million remaining after deducting attorney fees, case expenses, discharge of liens, and other costs. However, over the subsequent years, Sabrina, her firm, and other attorneys pursued litigation, accruing an additional $1.1 million in fees. Considering Verdugo's situation with only $5.5 million, it raises concerns about the state of Wendy Williams' accounts, especially since her family has been denied access. Her son and other family members are unable to view her accounts and monitor their activity. One can't help but wonder about the state of Wendy's accounts at present. It appears she was sent back to New York without proper monitoring, leading to public scrutiny and validation of the need for guardianship. While in Miami, she was reportedly clean and sober. So why subject her to the environment of New York again? Leaving Wendy in such a state begs the question: what good came from appointing this woman as her guardian if it only exacerbated the situation? Turning back to the Verdugo case, there are allegations that the judges overseeing guardianships played a role in the purported scheme. Ongoing ex parte communications between judges, guardianship parties, and guardian attorneys are said to have facilitated this scheme. In truth, it appears that finding individuals with clean hands in these types of cases is a rarity. The judge presiding over Wendy's case is Supreme Court Justice Lisa Suv. In September, Lisa issued an unconstitutional court order silencing a woman, prohibiting her from publicly discussing her father's circumstances or releasing court filings and transcripts from the case where she challenged her father's guardianship. This pattern suggests a preference for keeping proceedings under wraps, away from public scrutiny. Furthermore, an investigation by ABC7 revealed that Lisa received $572 in campaign donations from 2019 to 2022 from 20 guardianship lawyers, law firms, or individuals involved in guardianship cases. Interestingly, she awarded these same individuals or firms 62 appointments in 2022 alone. Since May 2022, Wendy has been living under a legal guardianship, overseeing both her finances and health. This arrangement came about after Wells Fargo froze her account in 2022 due to her financial advisor claiming she was of unsound mind. While I'm not suggesting this is precisely what occurred, the circumstances surrounding Wendy's guardianship raise concerns. To shed more light on what transpired during Wendy's time under guardianship in New York, here is her best friend speaking to Chris Keogh about the ordeal.
Through delivery service, because she the communication wasn't there, and she had no other access to money than this guardian. And so that's what was concerning to me, because she was telling me she didn't have food. And her publicist also, who lives out in LA, both of us were.
So what's the point of being a guardian if the person you're supposed to be looking after can't even eat without your approval? Here we have a multimillionaire woman allegedly waiting for breakfast until lunchtime because she needs permission to eat or has to wait for her food budget to be approved. Let me share with you a revelation from Big Kev, not the little one, who took to Instagram. I had to rely on information from the neighborhood talk since I'm blocked. He revealed something significant that was omitted from the docuseries. While Wendy was in Florida 3 years ago, focusing on recovery, there were secret calls orchestrated by her sister with Dead Bar Mercury Moore and Ira. The false pretense was that Wendy would regain her show, but it was all a lie. Their real intention was to use this as an opportunity to satisfy an insurance claim and replace the stolen money, which amounted to $5 to $15 million. They also sought to gain control over Wendy, with her sister attempting to gain ultimate control as the medical proxy. However, Wendy's naivety led her to be manipulated. Upon her return to New York, they ousted her sister and Wendy's condition worsened. As I've mentioned in previous videos, I received information that someone in Wendy's family held medical proxy over her and transferred it to Bernie, her manager. After this, everything went downhill. It seems Big Kev was trying to convey that Wendy's sister was naive in trusting these individuals, believing they had Wendy's best interests at heart when, in reality, they did not. It must be incredibly difficult for him to witness Wendy, once his confidant, deteriorate to a point where she's incoherent, intoxicated, and he can't intervene. He was the one constant in her life, protecting her from those who sought to take advantage of her. Despite his efforts, there's a sense of guilt for not being able to prevent the inevitable. So yes, there's culpability on many fronts, and I appreciate that his statement acknowledges his own involvement. Now, I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on Wendy Williams' situation, the role of the guardian, and the judge? Share your opinions in the comments below, and let's continue the discussion. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the bell icon to stay updated on my new episodes.